The promise that waited 20 years. The autumn wind swept across the small ranching town of Willow Ridge, carrying dust through the quiet streets. Jacob Turner adjusted the worn leather straps that held his 3-year-old son, Noah, safely on his back. Since his wife's passing a year ago, Jacob had become both father and mother to the little boy. Life had not been easy. Every sunrise brought another day of hard work on neighboring ranches just to earn enough money for food and a small rented cabin. Every sunset reminded him how lonely life had become. One afternoon, Jacob received a letter informing him that the ranch where he worked had been sold. All the workers would lose their jobs within a week. Holding Noah close, Jacob whispered, "Don't worry, son. I'll find us another home." With little money left, he packed their belongings into an old wagon and started toward the next town. The road stretched through wide valleys and golden fields. Noah laughed whenever birds flew overhead, unaware of the hardships surrounding them. Late one evening, heavy rain began pouring from dark clouds. Jacob searched desperately for shelter. Through the storm he spotted an old farmhouse with warm lights glowing through the windows. He knocked gently. The door slowly opened. Standing before him was a beautiful woman wearing a simple burgundy dress. Her dark hair was tied neatly behind her head. Jacob froze. "Emma." The woman stared at him in complete disbelief. "Jacob." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. 20 years earlier, they had been deeply in love. But Emma's wealthy father believed Jacob was too poor for his daughter. He forced them apart, sending Emma away before they could even say goodbye. Life had taken them in different directions. Jacob eventually married another woman who later passed away from illness. Emma had married a kind farmer, but he had died during a terrible fever 5 years earlier, leaving her alone with no children. Tears filled Emma's eyes. "I thought I'd never see you again." Jacob smiled sadly. "I thought the same." Emma welcomed Jacob and Noah inside. The farmhouse smelled of fresh bread and warm soup. Noah immediately reached toward Emma. She laughed softly. "Hello there." The little boy smiled. Within minutes, Noah was happily eating homemade stew while Jacob explained everything that had happened. When he finished, silence filled the room. Emma looked at the child with gentle eyes. "You and your boy need a home." Jacob lowered his head. "I can't ask that of you." "You didn't." She smiled warmly. "I'm offering." Over the following weeks, Jacob repaired broken fences, fixed the barn roof, and helped prepare the fields for winter. Emma baked bread every morning while Noah followed chickens around the yard, laughing louder than anyone had heard in years. The lonely farmhouse slowly came alive again. Neighbors noticed the change. Mrs. Harper, who owned the town's general store, whispered one afternoon, "They look like a real family." Even Jacob began feeling something he hadn't experienced since losing his wife. Peace. One evening, while watching the sunset from the porch, Emma quietly spoke. "Do you remember the oak tree beside the river?" Jacob smiled. "Where we carved our initials. I went there every year." Jacob looked surprised. "You did?" Emma nodded. "I always hoped you'd come back." Jacob stared across the fields. "I wanted to. But life kept moving." Emma reached for his hand. Maybe life simply took the long road. As winter approached, trouble arrived. A wealthy landowner named Victor Barnes appeared with legal papers. Emma's late husband had borrowed money years before. The debt had never been fully repaid. Victor demanded immediate payment. "If you cannot pay by Christmas," he declared coldly, "the ranch becomes mine." Jacob's heart sank. The amount was far more than they could ever afford. They worked harder than ever. Jacob accepted every ranch job available. Emma sold handmade quilts and preserves. Even Noah tried helping by gathering eggs each morning. Still, it wasn't enough. Christmas was only 2 weeks away. One snowy evening Jacob quietly packed his belongings. Emma found him loading the wagon. "What are you doing?" "If I leave, maybe Victor will give you more time." Emma shook her head. "No, I won't let you lose everything because of me. Tears rolled down Emma's cheeks. I've already lost enough people. Jacob stopped. For the first time in years, he realized someone truly cared whether he stayed or left. The next morning, the townspeople gathered outside the farmhouse. Mrs. Harper stepped forward carrying a wooden box. Inside were coins and folded bills. We all know what this ranch means. Others stepped forward. Blacksmiths, teachers, farmers, shopkeepers. One by one they contributed what they could. Some gave money. Some offered livestock. Others donated food that Emma could sell. By sunset, they had collected almost enough. Jacob looked around in amazement. Why would everyone do this? An elderly rancher smiled. Because kindness always comes home. On Christmas Eve, Victor Barnes returned expecting to claim the ranch. Instead, Emma placed a cloth bag filled with money into his hands. The debt is paid. Victor counted every dollar. It was complete. Without another word, he turned and left. Cheers erupted across the yard. Church bells echoed through the snowy valley. Noah laughed while running through the falling snow. Jacob lifted him high into the air. For the first time in many years, hope filled every corner of the old farmhouse. Months passed. Spring covered the hills with green grass and colorful wildflowers. The ranch flourished under Jacob and Emma's care. One warm evening Jacob walked to the old oak tree beside the river. The faded initials they had carved decades earlier were still visible. Emma arrived a few moments later. Jacob knelt on one knee. I lost many years. So did I. But I don't want to lose another single day. He held out a simple silver ring. Emma, will you marry me? She smiled through happy tears. I've been waiting 20 years to say yes. Their wedding was held beneath the same oak tree. The entire town attended. Children scattered flower petals. Neighbors filled long wooden tables with homemade food. Music echoed across the valley until sunset. Noah proudly walked beside Emma, holding her hand. When the ceremony ended, he hugged both of them. Now we're really a family. Jacob smiled. We always were. Emma kissed Noah's forehead. And we always will be. Years later, travelers passing through Willow Ridge often heard the story of the lonely widowed rancher, the faithful widow who never forgot her first love, and the little boy whose smile brought two broken hearts together again. People believed the miracle was finding love after 20 years. But Jacob and Emma knew the real miracle was never giving up on kindness, hope, or second chances. Because sometimes, the road that seems longest leads exactly where the heart was always meant to be.